Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's good to see you guys. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Judy Lafico. I've been with Gary Green since 2003. I was a producing agent in the Memorial location up until 2015 when Mark and Marilyn tricked me into being a manager. So I've been a manager since 15 in this office. I still think of myself as an agent. I'm really agent centric because I know how hard it is for all of you guys and how hard we all work. This last February, I was joined by Craig Manuel, and I want him to introduce himself and tell you guys a little bit about him. He is now the assistant manager here, and as you can see, we're both about the same age, and so you know we share a lot of the same values and that sort of thing because we're so close in age, right, Craig?
It's like looking in a mirror, Judy.
Yeah, I thought so. Yes.
So I'm Craig Manuel. Like Judy said, I'm the assistant manager at the Memorial and Memorial Green office. I joined Gary Green in 2016 as an agent in the West Gray office. And then I guess Mark and Marilyn tricked me too. And in February, I joined Judy over here on the other side. But you know, I'm still out there selling, not quite marketing as much as I was, but still staying in contact with the Sphere, which is basically how I built my entire business, was on just Sphere and a little bit of farming. And if anyone was in Sharon's class earlier, she did talk about the benefits of a Sphere to go along with the farming campaign. But that's what we're going to do. Judy is going to go into the agenda for what we're going to do, not only today, but moving forward. We want to make sure that you're getting everything that you want out of this class. So if there's any topics that you want us to cover that are not in this, we have a current 5-week program. If there's anything that's not in there, we'll be more than happy to add that in. So if you could just email us your ideas. But Judy, you want to go into the agenda?
Yes. Okay. If you guys just joined us and weren't on that original group that got an invitation, I want you to send me your email if you'd like to stay in this Sphere group. Just email me at lafico@garygreen.com or craig.manuel@garygreen.com so that I can make sure that I include you in all of and get you the PowerPoints. We are going to cover in week 1, who is your sphere and how do we categorize them and where do we put the contact information. Week 2, social media. Week 3 is using video effectively, everyone's favorite thing. Week 4 is technology in your SOI. And week 5 is what I call the old-fashioned way. I also call it tried and true. Some handwritten notes, mailers, pop buys, things like that have to go along with all of your new ways with the social media and that sort of thing. This class will be for new and experienced agents because as experienced agents, we can certainly use help on some of the newer ways to stay in touch. So I think what doesn't apply to you, it may apply to the new agent or to the experienced agent if you are new. We're trying to keep this in line also with what is being taught in Fast Track, especially categorizing your sphere. And so the other thing I wanted to say is we want to keep it short. I know y'all are zoomed out and we can go down rabbit holes, you know, and I think it's best if we keep this short. We're going to try and make these 30 minutes. If you have questions, I want to leave time at the end for some questions, but you can also type it in the chat if you have a question. So today we are going to talk about who is your sphere. So who is your sphere? Your sphere is everyone you know. Open your phone, look in the phone, it's everybody you know. It's your family, it's your neighbors, it's your past clients, as pre-real estate colleagues, everybody you know. If you're new, you don't have past clients. So you're going to have to really think about who is my sphere. But get in your phone and get everyone you know in that is your sphere right now. The most important thing on your sphere is to have them in have your database put somewhere in a CRM. We all got Impact. I don't know how many of you guys have been successful on getting on Impact and working with it, but I think homework for this class is you get your sphere into Impact. Get with your coordinator in your office, and they can help you get your sphere into Impact. I'm hoping that a lot of you have already done that. Impact is very powerful, and it can do a lot of things to stay in touch with your sphere automatically. In my office, Thalia and Josh Guderon are very successful mother-son team, and they just got all of their contacts into Impact, and they were sent out a text on their house anniversary, their sale or purchase of their house, and immediately they got a response. Someone went, "Oh my God, I can't believe you remember that. It was several years ago." So, and she didn't even realize it went out. So Impact is really powerful. So make sure between now and next Wednesday that you have your contacts loaded into Impact, because when we get to the week, which week is it that we have?
Week 4.
Week 4.
Week 4 is we're going to talk about technology and the SOI and really do a deep dive into Impact and how to use that with your sphere.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's really going to be great. Y'all are going to love it. Okay. So Impact also can touch their birthdays for them as well. Okay, because that's something that you will put in, and Impact will be able to take care of that for you as well. So with that being said, I want to move on to, now you've got these names, you've got all these names. Now we need to categorize our sphere. And this is important, and your categories will change over time. So Craig, I want you to move on to this. And this is also what's taught in Fast Track, guys. So for those of us who've been around the block, we may not have gone to Fast Track, but this is taught. Some people have different ways of categorizing their sphere. So just make sure that you do, so that you know if your contact is an A, B, or C, or 1, 2, or 3, or however you categorize it. So go on, Craig.
I'm gonna start sharing my screen. And like Judy said, if you've been in Fast Track recently, you recognize this. This is the awareness funnel. And I think us that have been in the business for quite a while make the mistake of assuming that everyone that we know is somewhere down here. They're already aware that we're real estate agents, and whenever they do have a real estate need, they will purchase with us. And then I'm sure it's happened to you, it's happened to me. We go on Facebook and we see they're at a closing table and they didn't even call you. So we've got to really pay attention to where our sphere is in position with this awareness funnel. So if you're a new agent, brand new in the business, the big thing, your challenge is to get people aware that you're a real estate agent. You're no longer a teacher. You're no longer in oil and gas. Whatever you were before real estate, you really need to be able to rebrand yourself. And we'll talk about that in later weeks, and get everyone aware that you're now a real estate agent. And then once they're aware you're a real estate agent, we have to move them down the funnel towards consideration. So whenever they do have a real estate need, they could potentially use you. They would consider using you. Then the preference, when they do have a real estate need, they will use you. And then when the purchase phase, meaning they have a real estate need and they're using you, those are your current and past clients. And then when we really want to get down to is the loyalty and advocacy. These are your A sphere of influence. This is where you're going to want to spend the most of your time. Monthly touches with them is your loyalty. Those are your repeat clients. and the advocacy. Those are the raving fans that you've created. And you want to make sure that you're staying on top of those people, because that's where a lot of your business from your sphere is going to come from. Those repeat clients and the ones that are going to refer you and scream your name from the mountaintop. That's just easy business that's going to come to you, and you want to make sure you stay in front of them. And we're going to talk about in later weeks how to move people down through constant touches, Facebook, Instagram, all your social medias, impact, and then the old-fashioned way. But we want to really figure out where everyone in your sphere is in relation to this awareness funnel. So don't make the mistake that, assuming that everyone's going to use you, because if you don't know where they are in this funnel, then you'll never be able to really get the most out of your sphere of influence. Okay. Let me stop share. Okay.
Okay.
And so how we categorize these are the A, B's, and C's. So the C's are the ones that are aware that you're a real estate agent and would consider you. So that's going to be the most people in your sphere. And the goal is to move everyone from C's down to B's and down to A's. So the B's are your preference and your purchase clients. Those are the ones that, if they have a need, they will use you. And the ones that have had a need, they have used you. But where you want to spend most of your touches is in that A group. It'll be the smallest group, but you want to make sure you're in constant contact with those names. Okay, and Judy, that's all I have on the awareness funnel.
Okay. So if you're new or newer, you're going to have almost everybody, you want them aware you're a real estate agent. That is your challenge. I know you were given announcement cards when you came to Gary Green, so those need to be sent out. And we encourage our agents in our office to hand address them, put a stamp on them, and let people know that that's what you're doing. Also, social media is great for this, posting an open house. Now that we can start to do open houses, I think the field got put back up on HAR. So I don't know if anyone's doing one this weekend, but as that comes along and we do more and more, make sure that you post houses on your social media that you are holding them open. People out in the marketplace don't realize that's not your listing. They just assume it is. So let them assume and get in front of it, and just, again, think of ways to let your sphere know that you're a realtor. For those of us who've been in the business for a while, a lot of us, and me included, I kind of, at some point would get complacent and not reach out to my A clients. These are the people that have used me. They thought I was great. They, refer me. I didn't ask for the referrals, and in the beginning I don't know why I didn't. I have no excuse, but I didn't. And I do think that is something, as experienced agent, we really need to examine if that is what we are doing. Or are we not doing that? You need to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you reaching out to those people, to your past clients? Have you reached out during this pandemic to say how you're doing? There's so many avenues to do that now. Someone was saying, and I don't remember where, I think it was a text, that they sent a text and they sent it to several people, but it was really, how are you doing? How is your family? It didn't have anything to do about real estate. And they heard back from almost everyone. And that's really critical, you guys, to have that relationship with your clients. Keep that relationship going, even when there's not a commission check involved, okay? Because if we only reach out to them when they're doing a deal, it's only about the money. It's not about the relationship. And no matter how technology advanced we get, this business is about relationships, nurturing the relationships, cultivating them, and keeping in front of our clients. So be honest with yourself. Are you reaching out to that group in the bottom of the funnel where we want everyone else to be? what are you doing? Are you taking them to lunch? Are you commenting when they have a Facebook post or Instagram post? Are you actually commenting instead of just hit like? You know, are you texting them regularly, since so many people text? But make sure that you are taking the time to reach out on a personal level. And you can say just that. I want to reach out to you on a personal level, just to see how you're doing. How's your family? How are the kids? I'm so sorry that John couldn't graduate. Whatever the case may be, we're so lucky that we can go on social media and find out what people are doing by stalking them, you know, and find out what's going on. If someone had a birthday or whatever, we are lucky to be able to know what's going on. So take advantage of that, but please reach out. I think NAR has those statistics that like 90% of the consumers say they would use the realtor. There's a realtor that sold them the house, but they never heard from them. The realtors don't get back in touch with their clients after the deal closes. And I think every time we've gone to a convention or anything with Better Homes and Gardens and formerly with Prudential, they all said the same thing. This is a nationwide thing. This isn't just a Gary Green thing, or, you know, it is nationwide. So be aware of that and be committed to keep those A clients top of mind and be reaching out to them. Okay.
And with that, you want to be authentically yourself. You don't want to be, you know, reaching out to them for sales agent and being overly pushy and like that. They're your friend first. If you're in your sphere of influence, they're a person that cares about you as a person, not just as a real estate agent. So you want to reach out to them as a person more often than you're reaching out to them as a realtor.
And we had in chat, Wanda Baptista says, yes, NAR said they forget the agent's name. Well, yeah, they forget the agent's name because the agent got their check, went on home, and just assumes, hey, they'll call me again. Well, maybe they will, but if you haven't been in touch with them, they're going to forget your name. You know, we all have short attention spans. Some of us have shorter attention spans than others. That would be me. So, 150 ways to build your SOI. You're going to be getting this along with the PowerPoint for today. This is something we give out to all the agents in our office. You may have seen it. It has made its rounds around the Gary Green offices. It really gets you thinking outside the box. Who is your sphere? How can I increase my sphere? Obviously, the more people you have in your sphere, the more likely you are to be able to move more people down the funnel and get more business. You know, who's your veterinarian? Who's your dry cleaner? It just makes you think outside the box. If you are active in the community, it is a great way to grow your sphere, to do something other than real estate outside the community, something you're interested in. And don't do it with a bunch of realtors. You don't need any more realtors in your life. We have each other. You know, do it with something you're interested in. If you love the museum, think about volunteering there. I know that many of you do have outside interest, and that's great. However, those, when you're there, they need to know you're a realtor. I'm speaking to you, Tracy Pierce, in my office. Tracy is very active in the community, but does everyone in those groups know you're a realtor, Trace? See, I'm putting her on the spot. I do that to my agents.
And I appreciate that, Judy. Thanks. I think most people do know I'm a realtor, but sort of in my area, there's like, you can't throw a rock without hitting a realtor. And we have so many in my area. So, I mean, not only do they know me, but they know 3 or 4 other ones. So
right.
I need to do a better job of being the one that they choose.
And I think when you come across as authentic, when you are authentic, your real self, and you don't come in there just talking to them The only reason you want to talk to them is if you know somebody that's buying or selling a house, and if they say no, you move on to the next person. Develop the relationships in those groups, and that will get you the business, and you might not even have to open your mouth that, you know, you're selling real estate. People will ask you how the business is. They always do if they know you're a realtor. So if you meet someone in the group and they don't know what you do, make sure you have your I think the elevator speech is what we call it. Have that ready if you're joining a new group when they say house real estate. Well, in West Houston, blah, 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 or in my neighborhood, or inside the loop, or whatever it is, have that at the tip of your tongue before you go to these groups. They have to look at you as the expert providing something of value, even when you're doing your little, 30-second elevator speech. So always have good facts ready to talk whenever you go anywhere, cocktail party, anything, have it ready to go. Other groups to join, Chamber of Commerce, alumni groups. If you guys have younger kids in schools, oh my gosh, that is just a gold mine. But you got to be involved. You've got to be involved. When my youngest was in high school and playing sports, I always went to the games with my name tag on. Even if I'd gone home, I went dressed for work with my name tag on. I didn't change clothes or anything. And when I would go get in the stands, they go, oh my gosh, Judy, you're so dressed up. Oh, I just came from work. I had a listing appointment, blah, blah, whether I did or not. And it was awesome. I got more business from that because they looked at me and go, that woman works all the time. Saturday, I get dressed, put on my name tag, go to the ballpark. So make sure that they know you're a realtor and get involved in your kids' schools. Church, of course, hobby, book clubs. I think at one time, almost every one of our realtors were in a book club. So that got very popular. Volunteering. But again, I stress, don't do things with a bunch of realtors. Try and think outside the box and do something that you really enjoy, because it's really good for you too, to get involved in outside activities that you enjoy. Get your mind off what we do. Open houses is a good way to build your sphere. And also floor time. We don't get near as many calls as we used to on the property desk, but we still do. And when we do get someone that is interested in buying or selling a house, get their name and their contact information, and you'll be able to put that in impact, and they'll be able to be put on campaigns, which we'll talk about later. So in the chat, Scott, $32. Oh, the price of oil is now $32, which is awesome. We like to see it go up. Yeah, I think we're the only people in the United States that jump for joy when we pay $3 gas. I'm going, oh my gosh, we're gonna have business. So anyway, thank you for that, Scott. That's encouraging. Yes, Harold, in the chat, always act as if you are always busy working. Yes, sir. Yep. But there's a fine line now, Harold, too. You don't want them to think that you're too busy for them. Okay. You always have time for them, but you're busy. They want to know you've got business. And we'll get into this and some of the tried and true ways to get business. I used to send out a newsletter monthly to my sphere, okay? And this was something that I did through, I think is Diana who on this call? Is she on here? I don't remember if that was personal marketing, Diana, or something else that I sent out this newsletter. But I had a little box in there that I said, welcome new clients. And there's like 4 or 5 of us that used to get together on newsletter night, and there was wine involved, but we would print our newsletters, drink wine, and if I didn't have a client, I'd make one up. I'd use one person's first name and the other person. Patty Jackson's laughing at me. I sure did. I make it smooth up. And then my sphere would go, Judy, you are doing so great in real estate. Every month you have new clients. I'd go, I know, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful, even for my made up clients. So anyhow, always let them see that you're busy, but never too busy for them. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Craig?
Yep, we're winding down. We're getting close to our 30-minute marker. Want to go over the homework that we're going to give you before we meet next week. We want to have all of your contacts uploaded into Impact. You want to give them unique hashtags, however you've been putting them in, with hashtag sphere, hashtag SOI, hashtag friends, hashtag family, whatever you want to do to categorize them. And also add either the A, B, or C tag, because then we can create custom campaigns based on where they are in that funnel in order to move them down. So we also want you to, since next week is social media, we want you to friend request every single one in your sphere of influence. So like Judy said, we're trying to stay up to date with what's going on with their lives. What better way than to be friends with them on Facebook or any other social medias that you're using? And again, like Judy said, if you were not on the original email list, we want to make sure that you're getting all the PowerPoint presentations and all the PDFs that we're going to be sending out. So make sure you email. My email address is my first name dot last name at Gary Green, Craig.Manuel, and Judy is Lafico at GaryGreen.com. Now
Questions, you guys. I know we'll have questions going forward, but please get with your coordinator in the office if you need help getting these contacts loaded. A very old client database worth uploading or better to use Remind? Well, Remind, if you were going to, do you mean putting those clients through Remind and seeing what the status is, Wanda? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I tend to think if you've done business with those people, I'd reach out to them. That would be my reason. Listen, I haven't, heard from you in a long time. How are you doing? Just that. And just see what the status is.
I have databases of clients that, let's say 2005, 2010, and I don't know if they've moved. I haven't kept in touch with them. So is it better to look at taking a farm area out of Remind? Craig, you probably know the answer to this, which at least I know it's updated information and addresses instead of trying to clean up old bad data that might be obsolete.
I mean, you can double check with their name, see if they've moved, look at the tax roll, see if they have the same address. But I think the best way would just be to reach out and call them, check in, see how they're doing, say, thinking about you, haven't talked to you in a while, want to see how you and the family are doing, hope all is well. I think that's the best way. And then they'll, remember you from the transaction, and then you can start up a conversation that way. I think that would be the best, but if you want to pre-screen and make sure they hadn't sold their house before, you can look at the tax rolls and HAR and Remind.
And that's something that I used to do. I would try and do it once a year, but that never happened. So it'd be like once every 2 years. I would go back through my database and see who had moved and didn't use me, and then boom, they're off. I got another one. Do you think phone call or text is better if you haven't reached out to a client for 5 to 6 months? Well, I like text myself. I guess it depends. If you've got older clients, many times they want a phone call. Depending on the client. If you're nervous because you haven't talked to them in 5 or 6 months, I don't think that's bad at all. 5 or 6 months gets away from all of us just overnight. 5 or 6 years, I'd be more nervous, but I had that happen too, where I hadn't touched with somebody for 5 or 6 years, except in my mailings. That to me was like this safe way to be in touch without this phone call or, I don't know why I would get in those ruts, but I would. So I think whatever makes you more comfortable, the point is to touch them. If you feel more comfortable touching them with a text, that do that. Or a phone call. Many people don't answer their phones anymore. It just goes right to voicemail. So you pick what's more comfortable for you because that's what you're going to do. Okay.
Or
Harold.
maybe even a video text if you're feeling very brave.
Oh yeah, video text. We're going to go to that. We're going to talk about that. That's really important.
Mhm.
So load the database, then see what responses you get, and manage as you work the list by calling, texting, etc. Yes, and we will get into that specifically, Harold, on what to do. You just get that database loaded.
Mhm.
Make sure that it's loaded before we start moving on, because if it's not, then there's a lot of things you won't be able to do. Okay? Anybody else? We're going to send the PowerPoint for today with the funnel on it, and it also will include the 150 ways to build your SOI. All right? That'll go out today, and please send us the emails. You guys, I hope you have a really nice weekend. I hope that you are showing houses and selling houses. Things have picked up in our part of town. We're very encouraged, and I hope they picked up for you too. And let's all just really concentrate on getting more business. Hopefully listings. We love listings, but any business from your SOI is good business. See you next time.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.